5 years
You're
of my
so
life.
confident about your age, hey.
I want to spend the next 5 years of
Right.
my life doing
Yes.
something that will make a visible difference, not just for the residents of Nairobi, but for the country at large. And I feel that being the governor will give me that platform.
All right, so there are quite a number of questions that have really come through my Twitter handle. Keep them coming, hashtag Friday Briefing. And of course, we'll be taking a look at them. But also, you're here to be the guest anchor.
I know.
And I have a feeling like you'll ace it, but let's see. But please, don't even try to outshine me, please.
No, I won't.
All right, so if you are not here today, right now, what would you be doing? Say the truth.
Okay, my children are at Westgate watching this movie. Okay, my daughter kept telling me that I'm calling it the wrong name, but it's Suicide something.
Suicide Squad.
Okay, I kept saying Suicide Pact. Okay, so she said it's Suicide Squad.
Right.
And she saw it and she loved it and she wanted her brother and I to go with her. And I just said, look, sorry, I've got a commitment.
So you actually go to the movies?
I go to the movies, yeah, I love it.
All right.
I think it's fantastic. And I think Mondays they have the discounts. I don't know why my kids are going on a Friday.
All right, so you're a discount kind of, okay, you're a discount kind of girl.
Yes.
All right, fine. Thank you so much for joining us. So, of course, we will be getting to know more about her aspirations to become the county executive, the governor of Nairobi County come 2017. Tweet me your questions, hashtag Friday Briefing, or directly at my Twitter handle at Betty M. Kyalo, and I'll be taking a look at your responses throughout the show. For now, though, we begin with the highlights.
The moral corruption that is being drilled in our youth through false gospel of riches.
Mimi nasikia wenzetu wa pande ile nyingine wanapinga ati hawataki professionals wa handle mambo ya nomination.
Scramble for coastal votes. CORD and Jubilee lock horns at the coast with 2017 votes up for grabs. World marks Humanitarian Day with focus on children who suffer as a result of war.
Akanihol sana ndio yule amemwona amebeba mabegi na mtoto nyuma yake.
So that imagination that maybe something bad is going on, you don't know where your kids slept.
And snatched away from parents. Search is on for a Ugandan househelp who has abducted a child from her employers.
You can get cancer. It hasn't been scientifically told what effect it has on us.
Are mobile phones a health hazard? Well, thank you so much for joining us here on Friday Briefing. Our sign language interpreter is William Silla. Now, we begin our bulletin with political events from the coast of Kenya, where scramble for the region's votes intensified for the second day as CORD and Jubilee continued their hunt for support in Kwale. For the first time since the formation of the Jubilee Party, Deputy President William Ruto captained his side in testing the waters, even as CORD leader Raila Odinga said he would fight on and ultimately bring redemption to Coast's vexing land question. Well, KTN's Coast reporter Francis Antomwa has the details.
A dancing deputy president brought ecstasy as he danced his way to sell his new formed Jubilee Party at Kingwede in Kwale. The mission keen to gauge the party's reception in a region that has largely sided with the opposition over the years. Ruto was at Kingwede to make donations. Raila will, however, not spare him a baptism of fire.
Hatuwezi kusema tunawaunganisha wa Kenya kama tunawagawanya katika vyama ndogo ndogo. Na ndio tukasema tutaunganisha hizi vyama iwe chama ya kitaifa.
Tu katika kipindi cha lala salama. Wamebaki na siku 350 peke yake. Wanaenda nyumbani. Unaona sasa wanakuja kila mara ati wanakuja kuzindua miradi ya maendeleo. Miradi ya maendeleo. Ati barabara hii tumetenga bilioni 2. Hii bilioni ngapi? Hii mradi hii ya hospitali tumetenga. Hiyo ni uongo mtupu, pesa hakuna.
Jubilee has remained steadfast in efforts to change the political stand of the region, and the bet seems to have already captured top leaders from the region. A section of opposition members of parliament have made clear their intentions to pull out of Raila's shade. Gideon Mungaro, an ODM rebel and member of parliament for Kilifi North, is the man being fashioned to captain the prospect of the new vehicle in the region, with some now circling around him.
Kuna mpwani anaweza kujilaumu hapa kwamba hakupigia kura Raila. 2007 kura mlimpa nani? Tulikuwa hata na mheshimiwa naibu wa rais. 2013 Sasa kama dereva kila ukimpatia gari ukigonga abiria 5 10 wamekufa, utampatia gari yako tena?
Speaking at Bongwe Secondary, a few kilometers from Ruto's meetings, Raila said the opposition remained the safest bet for the people of Coast.
Ndio sababu tumekuja hapa, manake wameshindwa na kazi. Kweli? Sio? Kweli. Sijui wameshindwa. Wameshindwa.
Raila continues to train missiles to the government as he tries to consolidate his strongholds.
Kuna wale ambao wamekuambia Gavana Mvurya, nisipomshika mkono mimi ataanguka. Wananchi hawa wanajua hawa. Au mimi nahitaji kushikwa mkono na mtu?
Kuna kitu mmepata? Kuna kitu mmepata? Waambieni wasome lebo. Wasome lebo. Kwale tumevuka, eh?
Both Jubilee and the opposition are upbeat that they will be able to carry the coastal basket. Perceived historical land injustices meted on the sons and daughters of this land will no doubt make a huge campaign agenda in the run-up to the next general election. And the huge test for the newly formed Jubilee Party will be to find their way around that particular subject. Francis Ontomwa, KTN News, Kwale.
All right, so that story there by Francis Ontomwa brings us to a big question tonight, and we'd like to hear your thoughts on it. We're asking you, do you think that CORD still enjoys majority support that it had at the coast during the last general election? Do you think CORD still enjoys the majority support it had at the coast during the last general elections? We'd like to hear your thoughts on it. Tweet me, #FridayBriefing, or directly at Betty M. Kyalo, and I'll be taking a look at your responses throughout the show. All right, now the Kenya Human Rights Commission and the Katiba Institute have expressed their displeasure over plans to have outgoing commissioners of IEBC paid their dues up to when they were initially expected to leave office. The civil society groups, through their Kura Yangu Sauti Yangu initiative, insist that the constitution has no provision for having officers who resign receive their benefits over work not done. The group now says that the method used to restructure the electoral system ahead of the 2017 polls has not addressed all pressing matters. Well, Timothy Ateno explains.
With the report by the Joint Select Committee on Electoral Reforms, as well as 2 other bills in regards to the same presented to Parliament on Wednesday, it appears the road to finding a long-lasting solution to the IEBC deadlock in the country may now be clear. But not so fast, says a group of civil society organizations who have come together under the initiative Kura Yangu Sauti Yangu. The group, consisting of the Africa Center for Open Governance, AFRICOG, the Katiba Institute, the Kenyan section for the International Commission of Jurists, and the Kenya Human Rights Commission, among others, insist that the country's electoral problems have been viewed as an institutional as opposed to a managerial matter.
If this is not addressed, the credibility and integrity of elections in Kenya will never be guaranteed. Thus, the replacement of the current commissioners of the Independent Elections and Boundaries Commission, IEBC, is necessary but not sufficient to ensure credible and peaceful elections in the future.
The group has now expressed its discontent in having the 9 outgoing IEBC officials receive their dues up to November 2017, when they should have initially been leaving office.
We have a very shoddy compromise where people who claim to have done no wrong are demanding immunity, and we're supposed to pay them for doing we know not what. And we're supposed to spend further public money on an issue where there has been no accountability for what are recognizably crimes, and crimes which have been prosecuted elsewhere, where processes have come to an end.
And that is not all. The group also demands that a fresh voter registration exercise be conducted, as opposed to an audit to determine whether a cleanup is required. They also want the political leadership in the country to convene a multi-stakeholders meeting to discuss other aspects of the electoral process, such as security and the judicial system that was not within the mandate of the Select Committee.
It is clear the Select Committee was a narrowly constructed mechanism to address a limited set of issues to do with the removal and replacement of the current IEBC commissioners.
They further demand that the number of IEBC officials be reduced from the proposed
This is an operational issue. You really have to look at it from a strategic point of view and see whether it actually makes sense and are there alternative ways that the same can be achieved without necessarily the commission feeling of a burden. And one of the suggestions we were saying is perhaps you outsource some of these functions. You see, the commission can supervise, but you outsource the function to someone else to carry out operations. In many countries, commissions don't run elections. They oversee the running of elections.
We inundate IEBC with so many other responsibilities, yet we want them to deal with this issue of planning and ensuring that whatever we are going to do is going to be credible, clean, clear, simple, like the committee is saying, simple, I don't know, is it simple or simplistic? I mean, it's going to be too much.
All right, now the recently formed Jubilee Party's steering committee co-chair Kyalo Murungi says the new party will be working closely with China's Communist Party after it launched when it launches in early September. Addressing the media after meeting with the party's delegation that had earlier met President Uhuru Kenyatta at State House, Kyalo said Jubilee is focused on uniting the country and that a mass party just like China is the way to go. The Communist Party has been invited to be a guest during Jubilee Party's launch. Then Jubilee officials would thereafter travel to China for a benchmarking mission.
And we are very happy that we are going to open a new chapter in the political cooperation through the two political parties. As the Jubilee Party, our focus is uniting this country so that we move away from individualized, tribal and regional politics into one united, cohesive, national mass party. So we have invited the Communist Party to be our guests during the launch of our party on the 9th and 10th of September. And I'm happy to report that we have agreed to grace that occasion. We are also going to send a delegation of the Jubilee Party on a standing tour to China immediately after the party has been launched.
Now, the world is today marking the International Humanitarian Day amid a stark contrast coming hours after images of a 5-year-old boy rescued in a rubble after aerial bombardments in the besieged city of Aleppo brought home the reality of war in Syria. Olzinzi Kibiku dives into history, showing how children have over the years become the face of humanitarian catastrophe, often as a result of war. Take a look.
Paramedics have just pulled a little boy out of a mound of rubble following an airstrike. This was until moments ago home to 5-year-old Omran. In the ambulance, his unemotional body sits in shock as his tiny hand wipes blood from his blank, dusty face. He just sat there, unbewildered. You see, Omran is as old as the conflict in Syria. He is just one among the growing numbers of those who have become not just the face, but another mere statistic of children affected by war.
The child was covered in dirt. I managed to pull him out, but I'm both happy and upset. I'm grateful that I managed to pull him out, but I'm upset over the fact that he is just a kid. He's only 3 years old. Why did this happen to him? He was having dinner when the strike hit. My friends and I were right here. We were playing.
This is Japan in September 1945. A boy stands with a stiff upper lip showing his duty after carrying his dead brother to a cremation ground. Kim's 9-year-old body continues to carry the scars of Vietnam's war. Historians say the image of her burnt body rushed the end of the war. March 1993 in Sudan, the picture of a vulture patiently waiting for a starved girl to die moved the world. Then came the horror of 3-year-old Aylan Kurdi, washed to shore, showing the plight of Syrian refugees attempting to reach Greek island last year. The world continues to remain silent. This 5-year war in Aleppo has left 500,000 killed, millions more homeless. 4,500 children lost their lives. Years later, Aleppo is still home to about 1 million, with 300 people having lost their lives in just the past few weeks. So far, United Nations has called for a ceasefire to allow aid to reach the area. Zinzi Kibiku, KTN News.
Really devastating. Now, to another disturbing story, and a house help has disappeared with a 2-year-old baby in Nairobi, leaving the child's parents in great agony. Now, the house help, reported to be a Ugandan, was last seen leaving Villafranca Estate in Nairobi's Imara Daima area while carrying the child on Wednesday at around 10 a.m.
The family of 2.5-year-old baby Caitlin Amanda Owino is desperate. She's been missing since Wednesday 10 a.m. and counting. The last person seen with her here at Villafranca Estate, Imara Daima, Nairobi, was the house help entrusted with her and her older sibling. A neighbor saw her walk out of the gate not just with Caitlin, but also packed bags. Caitlin's father, Francis Owino, aged 32, received a call later at 1 p.m. when the neighbor noticed that the help, said to be a Ugandan native, Jessica Nawire, had not returned. He was in Juja at the time. He called his sister, who found the house in a total mess. A 2-hour-long search in the estate was futile.
Yangu pandani, haizi ongea ni kiziwi. Akanitumia SMS, atu msichana mnaishingi na yeye, ni nani wako? Nikamwambia msichana ni house help wetu, ni msaidizi wa nyumba. Akaniambia msichana ndio yule amemuona amebeba mabegi na mtoto nyuma yake anaenda, na kuna wasiwasi sana anaenda akiangalia huko.
Nikamuuliza kama aliona msichana wangu wa kazi akipita na bag, akasema ndio aliona, na aliassume alikuwa anaenda mali baba yao anafanya kazi, which is weird, na ni weekday na wanajua usually msichana hafai kupita hapo na bag in any way, inafaa ku raise suspicion.
Owino and his father would search frantically on their way back before reaching the Imara home, the Kitengela stage along Jogoo Road, past Kamukunji and the Embasava, Guardian and Easy Coach bus stages, yielding nothing.
Hapo ndo tukatoka tukarudi nyumbani hivi.
The help had lied that she was taking Caitlin to her father's office not too far from their home. The couple have lived in this estate for 5 years and had only lived with Nawire for close to 2 weeks. The security guard at the estate also saw her leave but suspected nothing.
Mimi nilidhani anaenda kwa duka pale ama labda baba yake juoli si anakuaga kwa ofisi pale. Nikafikiria ni kama labda anaenda kuona baba yake.
The couple reported the matter to Villa Police Station, the area chief and the Embakasi Police Station. The household doesn't have a phone, but had been seen making calls on Saturday and Monday through another help's phone, which has since been confiscated by police without the details of the last people contacted.
Alafu nikaja simu mahali alikuweko, nikaenda kutengeneza wingi, nikachukua muda. Sasa kurudi, sijui sasa kama akitumia ama hakutumia.
After posting their predicament on social media, the couple received a lead that Nawire had been sighted at the Kenya-Uganda border. Caitlin's grandmother searched 15 buses there. The lead was false.
Go ahead yangu kama wanaweza advertise all over, kama kwa border, watu wa immigration in case nini, it's a case of child trafficking. Nikawapatia go ahead, so word ikaspread around kabisa.
Nawire was initially referred to the family by Caitlin's mother's friend in Bugom, Uganda. She's described as a very pleasant woman and good with children. What would be her motive for causing so much distress to a family that willingly welcomed her? A narrative that continues to make many working parents more cautious of who they leave their children with. The family's hope that Caitlin will be found alive has not waxed cold. Dorcas Wangira, KTN News.
All right, so we want to help the parents of the baby to find, of course, and trace that house help and hopefully trace the baby. And so we're asking, in case you have any information in this case, the family can be reached on this number, 0729 342 353. I'll repeat that again, 0729 342 353. That is the number. Let me repeat it one last time, 0729 342 353. That, of course, is the number that you can get the parents on, or you can just simply walk to the nearest police station and give the information that you may have so that this baby really can be found. All right, now moving on, it's only 2 days left to the 6th edition of the Tokyo International Conference on African Development, commonly abbreviated as TICAD. Well, TICAD is coming to Nairobi, and for the first time in Africa, only emphasizing the efforts Kenya has made in increasing the visitors' numbers for meetings, incentives, conference and exhibitions. And as Joy Doreen Bera reports, the government hopes to rake in over 12 billion shillings from yet another global event.
From the 6th Global Entrepreneurship GES Summit,
an area that is horizontal,
to the 10th World Trade Organization Ministerial WTO Conference,
Global Sustainable
to the 14th United Nations Conference on Trade and Development, UNCTAD 14, and now the 6th Tokyo International Conference on African Development, TICAD 6. Kenya is fast rising to become Africa's next stop for global events. The TICAD 6 conference that will be held on the 27th and 28th of August, co-hosted by Japan and Kenya, is looking to strengthen ties between Japan and African nations, with over 35 heads of state from across Africa confirming attendance.
Time on the African continent. Really, that makes us special, and as Nana said, it just shows the rest of the world that we're ready for business and for whatever else needs to be done.
Japan, one of the giant economies globally, just like the United States and India, has in the last few years been intimidated by the increased investment by the Red Dragon in Africa, and bringing the conference to Nairobi is being viewed as a gesture of a comeback. Currently, Japan supports about 16 ongoing projects in Kenya, among them the Mombasa Port Expansion Program, Olkaria Geothermal Power Project, and education programs at higher institutions of learning. From the conference, however, business tourism is almost guaranteed, with over 12 billion shillings in revenue estimated.
We thought UNCTAD was big,
and now realizing ticket 6 is truly big. Because it's not about just 4,000 Japanese. It's not about just another 4,000 Kenyans. No, it's 35 heads of states who are going to come to this country.
During conferences like the upcoming TCAD 6 conference, traffic management in Nairobi remains a challenge, but authorities say they have it under control.
We are ready as security officers, and you see all agencies are involved in this operation. So that we are able to host our visitors without any issue at all.
At the end of the conference, a Nairobi declaration will be made and African Union countries hope Japan will increase support in Africa's growth, peace prospects, trade, and lead Africa's positioning for the next 5 decades. Joy Doreen Bira, KTN News.
All right, so it's time to take a break here on Friday Briefing. But before then, let's just have a reminder of our big question tonight. And remember, we're asking you, do you think that CORD still enjoys the majority support it had at the coast during the last general election? That's our big question. We'd like to hear your thoughts on it. Let me sample 1 or 2 messages here. Dennis Simatra says, this is not an issue of thinking. CORD is losing grip all round, not only in the coast. Someone here has a different opinion. Ken Lashan Sankale, you say that CORD still commands most of the numbers in coast regions, but they need not take a break. All right, so thank you so much for your comments. Keep them coming. Hashtag Friday Briefing, or tweet me directly at Betty M. Kyalo, and I'll continue to sample your views. All right, so we take that break, but don't go away. Remember, we have Esther Pasaris in studio. I'm seeing very many of your questions coming through, and I'll surely put them out to her in a few minutes. Don't go away. We'll be back shortly. Well, thank you so much for staying with us here on Friday Briefing. Let's continue with the show. It's now time to take a look at our guest anchor very, very keenly, because she wants to be the next governor of Nairobi County. I'm talking about Esther Pasaris. Thank you so much for joining us and making time.
Thank you.
So before we get to, that position, when we started the show, you were so fond. I mean, you talk so passionately about your children. What kind of a mom are you? Very strict.
I think I am strict.
You think?
Yes, I am strict. I've got beautiful children.
Yeah.
I'm blessed. They know the limits with mom.
Right.
But I'm also their friend. In today's society, you can't afford to be strict and disconnected from your children. They've got to feel that they can come and talk to you about anything. So I think as they've gotten older, we've become friends.
All right.
And they can tell me anything. I think my daughter talks to me about everything. My son's a bit more reserved, but then his father takes over from there.
But then the thing is, what do you mean become their friends? Because this is really, like you mentioned, it's a really serious issue, parenting in this century.
But I'll tell you what, if you're not friendly with your children and you make them feel that they can tell you anything, anything, no matter what, even if you're in trouble, then basically that's when they get into even bigger troubles.
Okay.
So I would like my daughter to feel like if I am in trouble, if I've done something wrong, if I've got friends who are in trouble, I can go to my mom.
Okay.
And that's the kind of relationship I have with my children. As I said, my son's a bit more reserved.
Right.
And he feels more like he needs to talk to his father. So he has that avenue. But for my daughter, she's very, very close to me. She tells me everything.
All right.
Yeah.
That's important.
Yes.
So that's Esther Pasaris, the mom.
Yes.
So let's get to Esther Pasaris, the lady who, you vied for MP, Embakasi, vied for women representative, and now you're going for the top seat. First of all, that announcement by itself really shocked very many Kenyans, because they're like, first of all, where has she been?
Okay, the first seat that I actually went for was the mayor of Nairobi, which is exactly like being the governor right now. So where have I been? back to school. You know, you need a degree to be governor. So I had my sights on going for that job at one point or another. And just this seemed like the ideal time. Yeah.
So you are pursuing a degree right now?
Yes, I'm still pursuing a law degree. I've been in court so many times, sued and suing. So I
We'll
decided,
be talking about that shortly also.
I decided, you know, I tell you what, this is my advice to anyone. If your children have a dream and they want to do something, do not discourage them, encourage them. When I was 13, I wanted to be a lawyer. My pen friend was Georgiades Byron. He was a Greek criminal lawyer. And somehow I didn't get into that path. I became a hotelier, having grown up in Mombasa. And now at 52, I am actually pursuing law. And I cannot wait to actually be admitted to the bar. I'm going to go all the way. And I am looking so forward to becoming a lawyer.
But wait a minute. So what happened that you did not follow the path that you wanted? Was it parents? Is that what you're talking about?
You know, okay, I'll tell you what happened. Me and my morality issues. Okay, so basically Georgiades defended a Greek woman who had murdered her husband. And she was a battered woman, and he got her out on manslaughter self-defense. So I was very impressed with law. And then we had another case. It was a famous Shah and Shah case. And he came back, and he kind of defended the guilty person. And I was angry. And, you know, when he told me that even the guilty deserve lawyers and good lawyers, and he's a criminal lawyer, for me it was like, that was it. In fact, I think that's when I stopped being his pen friend, and I just decided I don't want to be a lawyer. And that was a wrong decision because that was my passion, and I guess that was my purpose or my destiny because, wow, I live in the courts, yeah.
Okay, I know that. So let's now go back to you being governor for Nairobi County. Why that position? Why now? And how did you decide that this is what I want to do?
Do you know, first of all, I feel that having women rep converse the whole county to go in and become just like a parliamentarian who just had a constituency is a wrong. So you're giving this woman this task of the entire county. In fact, I really think if we had to get it right, we should have put the county woman rep in the county government so that you have the deputy governor, the deputy, and the county woman rep. The whole idea of loading the Kenyan taxpayer with 47 women as county rep is wrong because the political parties themselves can be compelled to use the numbers within their own party to ensure that they have the gender balance. And if not, then denied funding. So they're not, what we've done is we've said, okay, so here we have political parties, they don't really have to do anything, and then we come up with this bill and we try and fix it through having another position created so that we can get the gender balance and meet our constitutional requirements. I hope that as we move forward, the county woman rep will move into the county, and then we actually get political parties to ensure that they do have a 2/3 gender balance.
All right.
Yeah.
So you're saying that the reason you don't want to go for women representative is you feel like you'll be incapable of really delivering what it is that you want to do.
Do you know, I'm a resident of Nairobi. My first position was mayor. All right. I interact with the county or the city council at that time and the county through my project Adopt a Light. And I feel with the budget that the county has to deliver services, essential services, I'm better placed there. I have delivered lighting of the city through private sector funding. I believe I can do a lot more in the county government. You know, garbage, unemployment, housing, water, service delivery. There's a lot that I feel I can manage. Recently with USIU, we have a community service project. I'm a student there, and I was refurbishing with 4 other students under the community service a school in Korogocho. And this was a Mabati shed school, and they have about 300 students. And for me, it was really sad that the government is not giving this school any teachers because they haven't met the standards to be recognized. And yet these are Kenyan students. So I feel that as the governor, I can do so much more.
So what is it that Kidero is not doing that you think you'll be able to shine on?
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I mean, right now we still have very poor housing and no affordable housing. Social services is disconnected from the people. I mean, for me, when I was dealing with the city council about when I wanted to be mayor, one of the biggest problems was all the houses like Woodley, etc., people were being kicked out of their houses so that councillors could take over these houses. So we do have a shortage of houses. If you look at any developed city like London, the mayor of London is continuously putting up houses so that you can have affordable houses for the citizens. And here and they pay for it, it's not free, but you get decent housing. Nairobi is surrounded by slums. We've not been able to address the issue of low-cost housing from the county level side. We've not been able to address markets. I mean, every time I pass through Westlands and I see the Westlands market, I'm angry. I'm even more angry about City Park. City Park had a fire. It's still the same. The food, the mud. I mean, people are stopping to go to City Park. In fact, I'm going to spend some time next week on City Park because I feel if we want to deal with the hawkers, right, we need to create proper markets and we need to make sure that that space where you have a market, I've always had this vision that the market should have housing structures up for low cost. 5,000, 10,000, 7,500, 15. And then also try and, ownership of property is very important. We could build these houses and after 5 or 15 or 10 years, you get the citizens to own houses. So I want to be that governor that empowers, the citizens of my county.
All right. The other issue, of course, that is really, obviously has been a really big headache for Kidero is cartels in the council. I mean, from what we know, he's really tried to crack it, but still, we understand that the cartels are there and they're thriving. What is it that you will do to ensure that these cartels that really, make it so difficult for service delivery in the county will actually be a thing of the past?
Do you know, one of the biggest problems that the county had, and I'm sure they still have, is auditing. And as governor, having worked with the private sector before, and as I say, one of the things that I've come up with, a hashtag, is taking ownership of our city. I'm going to involve almost all the audit firms in the city as a CSR to come in and we clean up the county. For me, if I go to the Nairobi County website, all right, you're not able to see how much money we've received, how have we spent it. I mean, I love this whole parking, Ujiji Pay platform. It's fantastic. I use it. But the thing is, I don't know how much money are they collecting. Why isn't that money being allocated to creating more parking? Why am I being charged for double parking when there is no parking? All right. Why am I paying 300 hoping that I get a parking? So I want to address parking as well as a concern. And I feel that transparency, we have to understand the 14 billion you're getting from government, the amount that you're collecting, 10 or so billion, what are you spending it on?
All right.
Now, Nairobi has, 17 constituencies? And for me, the county government has 14,000 employees. So you're having an average of about 800 employees in every constituency. What are they doing?
All right.
I only see the yellow coat people. Where are the rest? What are they doing?
All right. So fine. So with the great ideas, there's a poll that was conducted, a few weeks ago that put Kidero and Mike Sonko as it's like a two-horse race already. Do you think you'll be able to crack that?
Well, it's too early, isn't it? I mean,
is it too early? We actually lasted. We're way past the year. Now we're talking about just months to the elections. Do you think
when I joined the race for woman rep, it was 3 weeks before the race, and I managed to get 300,000 votes. Okay, that was cutting it too short.
Exactly.
3 weeks, but now it's a year. Okay, and for me, I think in the next 3 months, that's when I'll start gauging the opinion polls, and I have a plan B. If I do not become, because I always say you can lead, and you can take a leadership position without really, you can make change in your country or county or country without having a position, and I did that with Dr. Light. So I'm going for the governor's seat, and I really hope that Nairobi will embrace me and come and take ownership of the city with me. But if for any reason that does not happen, then I will still have another platform. The political party that I'm forming is going to have an economic platform.
All right.
Because I will still continue with the housing. I will still continue with the job creation. All right. Right now, I mean, look out for my domain. I have the domain County 47.
Okay, so wait a minute. So you've said that you're forming your own party, so you're not looking to join...
No, yes, definitely.
Jubilee or Quad, for now, you're not looking to join them?
No.
Wait, what is the name of the party? How soon
Well,
will
I'll
we
tell you
know
what,
about it?
you know me and controversy. Okay, so I came up with this party named Harambee Democratic Party. I wrote, and I confirmed that nobody had it, and I wrote to reserve it. And of course, the Registrar of Political Parties said I could not have the name. And well, I've given her another opportunity to explain why, give me reasons. And if she doesn't give me reasons that are valid, then I'm back to court with a judicial review, because I want the name that I want. It's Harambee Democratic Party.
Okay.
For me, the reasons that, it's in the coat of arms, I'm not using the coat of arms. And if people can have a party called Kenya Democratic Party, I don't see, Kenya National Congress, Kenya is bigger than Harambee. For me, I want to reignite the Harambee spirit in our people. And I came up with that, I put that name together, and I really want that name, because I've put in a lot of projects around this name that will not only unite Kenyans, but also empower Kenyans.
All right. Okay, interesting. So we'll continue with this conversation in a few minutes. But for now, I want you to read the news for us. And as we walk to the news set, I want you to talk to me about what happened to Adopt a Light. Is it still there?
Yes, Adopt a Light is still there, God's grace.
Some people perceive risks from radio frequency exposure as possibly severe. Several reasons for public fear include media announcement of unconfirmed scientific studies.
Cancer. You can get cancer.
By then I heard that you'd get cancer of the brains and all that. But after using it for all these years and I don't have cancer of the brain, I'm not well aware, or it hasn't been scientifically told what effect it has on us, so I really don't know.
Media reports of cancer clusters around mobile phone base stations have heightened public concerns. As scary as this research is, it's time to get a second opinion. South African EMF expert Manas van Dijk says detailed reviews conducted so far have not revealed any hazard specific to mobile phone frequencies.
Most of the studies conclude that the effects are real, but it doesn't seem to be related to the electromagnetic field itself.
His opinion is supported by the World Health Organization, which states that to date, no adverse health effects have been established as being caused by mobile phone use. Van Dijk says, given the widespread presence of base stations in the environment, it is expected that possible cancer clusters will occur near base stations merely by chance. The Communications Authority of Kenya is the body mandated to monitor electromagnetic frequencies in Kenya. The authority says one can protect themselves from harmful radio frequencies by buying cell phones from genuine manufacturers, as they are compliant with international guidelines.
If it's a device, if it's a wireless router or a mobile phone or something like that, there are product standards for those to be tested before they are released onto the market. Okay, so this Samsung phone is tested by Samsung before it's released onto the market to check that it complies with the method that I showed you.
National authorities are also expected to adopt international standards to protect citizens against adverse levels of radio frequencies, as well as restrict areas where exposure limits may be exceeded.
This rapid increase in the use of mobile telephony and wireless communication has necessitated the deployment of base stations close to the residential areas to boost connectivity and communication. My ministry considers public health as the key aspect to take into account in dealing with electromagnetic frequency.
While no health effect is expected from exposure to wireless networks, research is still being promoted by the World Health Organization to determine whether there are any health consequences from higher exposure to mobile phones. Michelle Ngele, KTN News.
All right, thank you, Michelle, for that piece. Very informative. All right, so we want to know from you, how do you think Esther fared? Let me see, what can I give you? I'll give you a 5.
Oh, wow, that's good. This was tough, actually. I should have carried my glasses.
Do you think it's tough enough?
Yeah, I mean, I think with praxis you can do it, but it's not my thing. I'm more off the cuff. This reading stuff is difficult.
But still, let us know, what do you think? How did she fare? Tweet us, #FridayBriefing, and then, I'll share the results with her. For now, where are we going?
We're going for a break. Joy Doreen is coming up with business.
All right, she had to read that. All right, fine. Joy is coming up shortly. All right, that was not too bad.
Thank you for keeping it KTN News. My name is Joy Doreen Bira. Now, the official number of meeting, incentives, conference and events tourists to Kenya is expected to hit 130,000 in 2016, a jump of over 195% since 2014 as a government-led drive to popularize the sector gains traction. According to Tourism Cabinet Secretary Najib Balala, with several large conferences expected before the end of the year, numbers were expected to continue growing strongly. The sector recorded 77,000 visitors in 2015. The government is meanwhile working to improve infrastructure close to other tourist attractions in order to have better offerings. Now, the numbers, though, are paltry compared to other global destinations like Sandton and Cape Town in South Africa, Las Vegas and Hawaii, which offer superior service quality and experience. The of Kenya employers is blaming heavy internal borrowing by government for the prevailing high interest rate regime in the country and accusing it of indirectly locking out other Kenyan borrowers as banks prefer to lend to government, which is considered less riskier. The federation, while calling on President Uhuru Kenyatta not to sign the proposed interest rates capping bill into law, has called for a meeting of stakeholders next week to chart a workable way forward. This is, of course, hoping that the president doesn't ignore their plea and sign the bill into law before then.
Reducing domestic borrowing by government, securing firm commitment from banks on lower rates, providing tailored financial services and products for SMEs.
The business community is coming together sometime early next week because whilst we think that the bankers are at the top of it, the rest of the business community also has their own views, which are not necessarily in line with what the banks have.
Listed Pan-African publishing house Longhorn Publishers has announced a 43% jump in profit before tax in the financial year ending June 2016 to stand at 139 million shillings, with the company ascribing the strong returns to its diversification strategy throughout the African continent. Ashley Mazuri has more.
Longhorn, which now describes itself as both an Anglophone and Francophone company, has recently spread its wings to Western Africa, with sales in Gabon, Ghana and Senegal, and its eyes on new markets in that region. The company has also ventured into the Democratic Republic of Congo, in addition to counting Rwanda, Tanzania, Uganda, Zambia and Ethiopia among its top markets. As a result of this regional diversification, the publisher posted a 77% growth in its net sales to stand at over 1.5 billion compared to 848 million shillings posted during the same period last year. The company said it realized 25% of its sales from the export market.
The strategies that we have adopted as enumerated, the 4 strategies that I've just enumerated, will now be fully realized in the coming year. And barring any unforeseen circumstances, we should be able to cross the 2 billion shilling mark.
Besides piracy, which has been on the rise, robbing publishers of their hard-earned revenues, the other thorn in the publishers' side remains value-added tax, with Kenya being one of very few countries worldwide that maintains this practice.
That it is actually wrong to tax knowledge. But it has been for the last 2 years.
Longhorn is now the market leader in the region in the sales of reference materials in both French and English, after penning partnerships with the Bible Society of Kenya, Biblical International and Cambridge University Press, among others. Ashley Mazuri, KTN News.
And the mere mention of the name Gilanis in Nakuru County is enough to catch anybody's attention. An iconic business which over time has morphed from retail into wholesale and distribution over many different product segments. Gilanis has defied time and business dynamics to continue dominating the region in business in many ways. Victor Ogale reports from Nakuru.
Located along Club Road in Nakuru stands Gilani's supermarket. Gilani's started off in 1974 as a small retail shop and a dream business by patriarch Gilani to serve the needs of his customers. His business grew steadily, and by the late 80s he had fully ventured into wholesale business, making Gilani's for a long time the only wholesale and retail outlet in Nakuru and its environs.
How we have expanded is we've purchased trucks and we've supplied other supermarkets, other retailers, other wholesalers.
As at May 2015, a survey by the Nakuru Business Association indicated that Nakuru town had over 25 supermarkets. However, for Gilani's supermarket, this does not give them sleepless nights. An increase in disposable incomes has meant that the business continues to expand.
If we were to open a branch, for example, in a town like Molo, then we would obviously lose our clients there. So what we are saying is we would rather supply and support those clients than open new branches and outlets in those areas.
Gilani's has also ventured into the hospitality industry. They have also ventured into real estate. This towering building, which is the tallest in Nakuru County, belongs to Gilani's Holdings Limited, a project that is worth 750 million shillings. Gilani's has also been offering catering services for major events such as the annual Prince Louis Sevens Rugby Tournament. To many Nakuru residents, Gilani's supermarket is a household name, an institution that over the years has continued to cut a niche in the ever-competitive wholesale and retail market, warding off competition from newcomers. Victor Ogale, KTN News, Nakuru County.
Thanks, Victor Ogale. Now, remember, for more business, log on to our website, ktnnews.com. My name is Joy Doreen Bira. Coming up next, Mind Your Language.
But of course, we thank you so much for watching. I still have Esther Pasaris here in studio. I've seen quite a number of responses, of course, coming in. Feedback about her aspirations for Nairobi gubernatorial seat. We wish you all the best. We will be there to cover the campaigns and everything. But before we leave, of course, there's this other controversy that has been raging, online about some allegations to do with sexual harassment against you. How is that going? Have you pursued a legal cause with it?
For me, going public was because I felt it had to be done. And immediately after that, there was the woman whose hands were chopped by her husband. We've had today trending in the news the young boy who was sodomized. We also have situations where Daisy, the young lady who's been raped continuously by police. We do have social issues in our country, and I feel that it's the only way we get to know about them is if we highlight them. For me, it's something that I felt I needed to share, and it's something that I felt other women probably go through it, and I have talked to quite a few women. And this is life. You bring out certain aspects that happen in your life because you expect that change will happen.
But how come it came out so long after it actually had happened?
Because sometimes life has triggers, and for me, about a week ago, or 2 weeks or 3 weeks before I came public, I actually went to my bank and I said, I'd like an overdraft of about 5 million. And the bank says, what's your source of income? I said, well, Adopt-a-Lite, and I do have savings. And they go, well, Adopt-a-Lite is listed. And for me, the fact that my company would be listed when we have a disputed debt where I'm saying there's an overcharge, right, was wrong. And I've actually taken it up. I've given it to my lawyers, and they've taken it up with the Credit Reference Bureau. And then there was also the issue of when you're in court with my company, and we're trying to mitigate on an issue of a debt, and it's in dispute, then you call in the guarantees. So there's been this trend of maliciousness continuously from then, and I just kind of ignored it and said, okay, he'll overcome. He'll come to terms with rejection, but it just kept coming and coming and coming. And I just reached the point where I said, enough, okay? You're not going to do this to me anymore.
But
Yeah.
have you been able to achieve what you wanted to achieve?
I
with it?
think I made a statement, and I think I put him in his place, and he needed to be put in his place.
All right.
Yeah.
I think that's a good way to end it. But
Yes.
it has been really, really great having you on the show. Thank you so much. And of course, we wish you all the best with your race to become the top executive of this county.
Yep.
Yeah?
Thank you very much.
All right, fine. Esther Fasaris, of course, businesswoman, philanthropist, and also she is now in the race of the seat for Nairobi governor. All right, so follow her tweets, follow her campaigns to see if really she will meet your target as the leader for Nairobi County. Thank you so much for watching Friday Briefing. My name is Betty Kyalo, and you are?
Esther Fasaris. Good night.
Good night, and take care of yourselves. Bye.